Okay. I gotta remember something. That is getting a haircut today. Okay. Alright. So, here we go. Non-overlapping intervals yesterday. This was a pretty nice problem where you had to sort and consider the intervals. Very, very simple. Now we can go through meeting room 2. We'll just see. Even in Leetcode 150, the intervals problem, you'll need to do these two. Minimum interval to include each query. Alright. Meeting rooms. Let's have a look. This is interesting. Good morning, Nafi. It has been a while since I've seen you. I'll be here for a bit. But I'll need to be out or away around. Let's see, I'll be done hopefully by 3, I think. I'll hopefully be done by 3. Ideally, I can get through 2 problems and then also go through the brag document. I'll go through this one and then I'll go through the brag document and then go through. Okay. So, given an array of meeting interval objects consisting of start and end times. Ooh. Determine if a person could add all meetings to their schedule without any conflicts. So it's a true or false problem. Start and so 0 and 30, 5 and 10, 15 and 20, false, right. But this is still an intervals problem. Just checking whether you conflict or not. So what, ideally you would sort this. I think. I'm officially done with school now. Was chilling for a bit before jumping back into Leetcode grind. Oh yeah. What's the brag document for? That's a good question, right? We will have a discussion about that after I do this Leetcode problem. But I guess the brag document is helpful for when you want promotions within a business, within a corporate company, right? Make sure that you keep track of your successes, because realistically nobody else will keep track of it for you, and you can use that as leverage, you know, to better your career. And also it's going to be useful for me just as an intern at Amazon. So yeah, it is for my internship, yeah. Okay. So thinking about the intervals, we can think about that example, 0 to 30, 5 to 10, 15 to 20. You can organize, you can sort by, I guess you can do this in O of n log n, O of n log n time, because you have to sort first. So intervals dot sort. Now we can sort by key lambda interval. Now taking the start time only, and for I in range of len of intervals, I something intervals I. Got to consider the end, right? So 1. If this one is less than intervals of, let me think, the previous intervals. Oh, wow. My food is basically here. Okay, but intervals. I'm just trying to think. Maybe we go from 1 to len, and then we check that the previous, so technically the start, and the intervals of the previous, 0, so 1. You just return false because that overlaps. Otherwise, if you never reach that scenario, return true, no? See that as what it is. Oh, right, there's an interval object. Right. This is an interval object. So the key is not subscriptable. Makes sense. So start. Oops. End. Wait, no. Yeah, it is start. End. Now that should work. perhaps, maybe. Okay, simple. All right. Give me a sec. I'm gonna get my food. Um, 1 second. That took no more than 5 minutes, but we'll see the solution here as well. Let me, yeah, be right back. Good food. Ooh, side dish. That's some good marketing. When technically, quite a lot. It's bigger than I expected. Well, the fact is, I am going to eat this um, right now on another table. So I'll be back in like 20-30 minutes. Okay. I gotta have a shower at some point as well. So lunch is done. Gotta shower. Ideally, I shower within the next hour. Let me. How do you stay so consistent with Leetcode, man? Well, hello, Harold. A good question. I would say even like streaming some of this stuff is a contributing factor, but it's just like, how do you stay consistent in general? That's the type of about. Um, I think it comes down to habits. Forming a habit like this, you know, for the better or for the worse. So what is the subscribe to unlock problem? What is this? 252. Hmm. Yeah, this solution is literally the solution. Okay. Lint code. Lint code. Oh, 920. Oh shit, it's 920. 250. I gotta change that. Wait. How to control. Wait, is it really just control? Control. It is just. I gotta remember that, man. Gotta remember that. Check it. Try to unlock. simple enough. Alright. I want to try check something. Control C. Wait. Control C just doesn't work. Control Z. What's this called? My ZSA. Ooh. Clean. That's simple. Oh, that's mid. Goes. Oh, right. There was something about autocomplete. Yes. Fuck, am I really gonna look at this right now? Meh. I'll be OMZ up. Oh wait. Reload. I'll just use this for now. Actually. Is there a wizard? Ooh. You go back. Oh, that's cool. That's go back in. Oh, it's a okay. Doesn't matter. Alright, meeting rooms 2. Ooh. Really? Given an array of meeting time intervals, find the minimum number of days required for meetings without any. Day 1. So instead of true falsing, you now count how many conflicts there are. Could this be done in a dynamic programming way as well? Could this be done in a greedy way? If you're doing this in a greedy way, you sort everything first. My thinking is you would always sort regardless. And then after the sorting, scan through left to right, find that you have 0 to 40 and 5 to 10. So you split there. And you go from 5 to 10. No problems. Don't know if that's a good way to go. Because what if, say, you had an example where is there a better option? So instead of picking this obvious option, the more obvious option. And put that on day 1. If that overlaps, not the minimum. But what is the greedy approach here? The greedy approach is to notice something. How is the greedy approach done? Merge intervals and non-overlapping intervals. Non-overlapping intervals. I guess they're all one tricks. But I can't think of the one trick here. The one trick, I don't know, if you had 0 and 40, Or say 0 and 10. 10. You can put one or the other. For the ones that conflict, you remove the one that ends later. We put that one on day 1. The other one on day 2. Then it's not just 2 days, you could have 3 days, 4 days. If they all overlap, then they all have to be on separate days. So if any overlap, you have to pick the one to put elsewhere. Different day. And just keep a count, right? Then how do you keep track of the other days? Which ones can you know just to put back? So you've got 40 to 50. You have 40 to 50. You want to know to put that on day 1 and not create a new day. Technically, it doesn't matter. 40 to 50. Let's say it's 20. Instead of 20, it's 50. And then you got 40 to 50. You can technically put either one then. 40. One ends later. That. I guess you can think of the latest interval. The latest interval for that day. Perhaps. Keep track of the latest interval for that day. In which case you might have 40. Latest interval for that day is 10. Latest interval for that day is 20. So do you need a set here? And then you count the sets. Maybe. If you use a set. If you do use a set though, you count the number of keys at the very end. Okay, well, wait, no. 40. Would that be right? How do you even key the set? 1, 2. How do you key the set? So 1. You could have at maximum n number of days. So you could have just an n. could have at maximum n number of days. Maybe the DP is that many days. And then on the specific index, you would say the max at that point is 40. And ones where zero ones where it's not zero. Okay, we'll make it into a set. Not a set, sorry, a dictionary or hash table. Say it's day 1, dp of day is equal to interval 0 and then we do that. Interval 0 end. So if interval starts is SN day dp day end is greater than start. Sorry, day start is less than the end. Then day increments and dp day is equal to intervals I end. Return day. Nah, that's not right. I don't think that's right. Because the days, you're never accessing the days correctly. dp day interval 0. Is this the case where there's nothing? No, there is stuff. dp day 0 and index out of range. Why would that be out of range? is the question. But because you never go back to another day that works. Maybe you keep a set. No. Must be greater than some number. Nah, this, I don't know. Let's see. Min heap. Sweep line algorithm, 2 pointers, and greedy. Min heap. How the heck is this a min heap problem? Yo, this is crazy. Oh shit, you guys can't see my screen properly.
You just have to know what's the maximum number of overlapping meetings at any given point in time. In this case, that happens to be 2. We are going to be required to sort the input array, which is going to take n log n time complexity. So this is going to be the time complexity of the algorithm. The memory complexity is going to be big O of n. I'm going to show you how to do the solution. Now, if you just stare at this, like the problem statement, and just look at these numbers, it's going to be difficult to come up with how to code the solution. But as you guys know, I like to draw pictures, and when you look at the picture, it actually becomes pretty easy to figure out how to solve this problem. So let's do that. So this is kind of how we can visualize those meetings, right? These are the exact same meetings that we were given in that first example. We have one meeting going from 0 to 30, another meeting going from 5 to 10, and another meeting going from 15 to 20. Now
when you look at this, you realize the end is greater than 5. The end is greater than the start of that one. So what do? You realize they overlap. That's how you just realize they overlap. Then you remove the one that... we move the one that is overlapping more, so it ends later with 30. Move it to somewhere else.
we just go from left to right, we're going to see, okay, well, this is the first meeting that starts, right? It starts at time 0. And if we just keep going, now we see what's the next point on our grid, right? Well, there's another meeting, and this is not an end time. This is not, the first meeting isn't ending. There just happens to be another meeting that's starting. So another meeting just started at time 5. So what does that tell us? That tells us 2 meetings have started so far, but nothing has ended, right? There's no meeting that's ended yet. So at this point in time, we're going to have 2 meetings going on at the same amount of time. So what we're going to be maintaining is a variable count, which tells us at any given point in time, what is the number of meetings going on. And right now our count is 2, and we're going to end up returning whatever the max value this happened to be. So what's the next point on our grid? We visited this one, we visited this one. Now we're looking at this one, right? Okay, at time 10, there's an end point. This is not a starting value. This is a starting value. This is an ending value. So what does that tell us? that tells us a meeting has just ended. So what are we going to do with our count? We knew we had 2 meetings going on at the same time over here, but now after this point, we're only going to have 1 meeting going on, right? Like look at the picture. There's only 1 meeting going on, and it's this first one, right? 0 to 30. So we're going to set the number of meetings going on to 1. Now we're going to look at the next point in order. Now it happens to be a start time. So another meeting just started at time 15, right? So once again, there are 2 meetings going on, right? At this point, there's 2 meetings going on, the first one and this second one. So once again, a meeting started. That's going to tell us.
Why does this feel like a
stack
stack as well?
So now we're going to say 2 meetings are once again going on. And again,
Well,
we're going to
technically, you
repeat
don't
the
need a
same
stack.
process. The next point is at 20. This happens to be an end time. So that means a meeting is ending, right? We don't technically even know, is it this meeting that's ending or is it this meeting that's ending? It doesn't really matter to us. All we know is that after this point, only 1 meeting is going to be going on at any particular time, and it's going to be this one. So we're going to take our count of meetings going on, decrement it, and now it's going to be 1. And last but not least, we're going to go to the last point in our grid, and it's also a end time. Obviously the last point is always going to be a end time for a meeting, so that means another meeting is stopping. After that point, there's only going to be 0 meetings going on, so therefore we can take our count, decrement it all the way down to 0. Now we notice that what was the max value that count happened to be? Well, the max it ever reached was 2, so therefore we're going to return 2 as our result. 2 meeting rooms is enough to contain all of these meetings. So let me show you quickly how we're actually going to be sorting these points and how we're going to be able to iterate through each point in order, regardless of if it's a start time for a meeting or if it's an end time for a meeting. So I'm going to slightly change the example in this case. So just by looking at the picture, what do you think the meeting rooms number would be for this problem? Well, you see over here, there's going to be 1 meeting going on. Here, there's going to be 2 meetings. Here, there's going to be 2 meetings. Here, there's going to be 1 meeting. But look at this point at point time equals 10. Clearly, there's 3 meetings going on at this time, or at least 3 meetings have a 10 value included in their time interval. Does that mean that there's going to be 3 meetings going on? Well, technically, the way this problem is defined, this meeting would end before this meeting started. What I'm saying is these 2 meetings are non-overlapping. So when we are going through this point, if we ever have a tie, meaning if we ever have 2 points with the exact same value, what we're going to do is we're always going to iterate through the end meeting time before we iterate through the start meeting time, right? Notice how this is a end time, this is a start time. We're always going to pick this one if we ever get a tie like this. So we're actually going to have 2 input arrays. We're not just going to sort every meeting based on the start time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put all start times in a separate array. So 0, 5, and 10 are all going to go in a separate array. These are all the start times for any meeting, right? This way, we have them in sorted order, and we know, okay, these are the ones that are start times. We can differentiate between a start time and an end time. We're also going to put every end time in an array as well in sorted order. So we can see the first is 10, next 15, next 30. So now we're going to start this problem off with 2 pointers. We're going to have 1 pointer at the beginning of start and 1 pointer at the beginning of end. We're always, between these 2, we're always going to pick the minimum value. So we are going to maintain a count, which tells us the number of meetings that are going on. And if the minimum between these 2 is the start time, what we're going to do is we're going to increment the count of meetings going on and then shift our start pointer to the next one. And we can see that that's the case again, right? 5 is less than 10, therefore a meeting has to start before this meeting ends. So once again, we're going to shift our pointer over here and we're going to increment our count by 1. So the count is now going to be set to 2.
That is
and
good.
now we get to the edge case, right? We got a tie. So a meeting is ending and a meeting is starting. Remember, we are going to visit the end time if there's a tie first. So what we're going to say now is that, okay, a meeting has to end before this meeting starts. So we're going to shift our end pointer to the next one. If we iterate through an end value, that means a meeting just ended. Therefore, we're going to decrement our count by 1. So 2 is decremented by 1. It's going to be set to 1 now. Now, again, we're going to compare these 2 values, 10 and 15. Which one is smaller? The 10, right? So therefore, another meeting is starting. So we're going to increment our count by 1. So count is now going to be equal to 2. And now we don't even have any start times left. So technically at this point, we're just going to be iterating through the end time. So we're literally just going to be decrementing this. So we iterate through this, decrement this down to 1, iterate through this, decrement this down to 0. So technically, once we've gotten through all start times, we don't even have to iterate through the remaining portion of end times. So what we can say is that our max count at any given point it reached was 2, so therefore we're going to return 2. So that is basically the algorithm we're going to use, and coding it up isn't going to be too difficult. Yes, we are going to have to create 2 separate arrays, start and end, and we're going to have to sort these input arrays. So the time complexity is going to be n log n, the memory complexity is going to be big O of n. That being said, let's jump into the code now on Leetcode. So like I said, we are going to create an array for all start times in sorted order. Now I'm sure you know how to do that in your language of choice, but in Python, there's a pretty easy way to do it. So we're going to go through for every interval.
Okay, so this is the 2 pointers approach. Ooh, you sorted it twice? I guess it doesn't matter, but still. I guess you, wait, can you even do it any other way? Wouldn't be able to. I see. The result is the count. Result is the max of the current count. Yeah. Greedy. If you're given a time, empty. I in intervals. I starts 1, I end -1. I see. Then you sort. Right. What the fuck? Well, I guess that's the same thing as 2 pointers, no? How is that any greedier than 2 pointers? How is that any better than 2 pointers? So it's always going to be minus. Wait. Wait, this greedy is kind of crazy. Some time. T in time. For this time, we're going to increment. For this time, we're going to decrement. So lambda x, couldn't you just ignore that whole thing? You sort by the time and you break ties. The time is the same. Then you pick the one that ends. Oh my god, that's so crazy. That's actually so crazy. That's actually so crazy. Okay. Did you pay for Leetcode Pro? No, I didn't. This isn't Leetcode Pro. No. Don't need it. Okay, so my thinking then is like, I want to do the greedy approach. Okay, that's smart. Very smart. But why is... What's up with this? Default dictionary. What's up with the default dictionary version? Res equals max res prev. Is this not the same thing? You add everything to a dictionary. This is a sweep line algorithm. What's a brute force? Oh no, min heap. if min heap push, min heap interval end, if is less than or equal to start, then heap pop from the min heap. Yo, what the flip? What the flip? What the flip? This is technically also... Wait, you add the interval end. So you add the end value. Alright, say you added 5. And then if 5 is less than or equal to this, oh, but it's not. So it's overlapping at this moment. Then you check 3. So then no, you would add this to the heap where you have 6 now. 6 less than or equal to 3. Yes. No. So then you would add this again. So it's 7 now. You'd add this again. And then you would add this again. Where you would pop. And then you would add this. And then by the end of that, you would have 4. What the fuck? How does that work? You literally min heap it until you get to the point where the end happens and then you remove it. When the end occurs, that's when you remove it. But when the start occurs, when you add it. The min heap is also a bit crazy. Just keeping track of time. You only add the end times. And you check it against start times. That's crazy. Because then how that works is crazy. So it's like going by two conditions, right? That if the start time is before an end time, sorry, if the start time is after an end time, then that's when you would remove that end time. It's also because it's ordered. It's also because it's ordered, right? So then, if you know that start time, you don't need to consider anything there anymore. It's already past that. You don't need to consider those things anymore. It's like a sliding time window. It's kind of like a sliding time window where, you know, the time is like the really, really cool thing. I didn't think about it that way. But now I get it. I get all four methods now. I'm gonna re-implement this one in the greedy method. So the greedy method, what? Does it create one singular array? Yes. And it makes it by time. Okay, so then time is a singular array. Where for interval in intervals, interval start, time dot append interval start 1, time dot append interval end -1, for time in okay, wait, time dot sort key equals lambda interval well, interval, okay, so he's done an interval 0, interval 1, so and then for t and time, t of 1, count, res, max of res and counts, count, return res, count and res. Okay, cool. Nice. I'm gonna save this now. DG, DG, after, paste. Okay, never mind. Is that Kitty or Ghosty? I'm not sure what those are actually. Ghosty. Oh, this is Alacrity. This is Alacrity. Hmm. Perhaps, oh, sorry. Perhaps I should look at some of these other ones, you know? You should try Ghosty. It's released the other day and pretty cool. I see. Kitty. Let's have a look. Pretty cool. Made from the guy that made HashiCorp? Really? Interesting. Yeah, maybe. It's on my radar now though, so we'll keep an eye. We will keep an eye. Alright. Not bad. I'm gonna say we are good here. I'm gonna say we are good here. Okay. We are pretty good. We are pretty good. We are pretty on our way, I will say. Math and geometry, 3 questions of these. And then bit manipulation. We are well on our way. Obviously, there's more here. But that means we got 41 questions remaining. Whoa, really? The only terminal that renders images and supports shaders. Right. That's actually big. That's actually big. Because, yeah, images and terminals, that's fair enough. There is none of that anywhere else. Okay. Let's see. We will exit. We will double check. So Leetcode done. We're gonna have a shower now, and we're gonna read over this. The brag document that I was gonna talk about. Talk about the brag document after I've had a shower right now, and I'll be back. Ideally, I'll take a shower. It takes about up till 2. Do the brag document for another 30 minutes, and I'll call it a day. If I get those matrix spiral questions, I would just walk out the interview. Yeah. I've heard interesting things. Matrix spiral. Matrix spiral. I wonder what this actually entails when we get to it. Alright, we'll see what it entails when we get to it. Maybe it's for like HFTs. You know? Maybe because it's math related, right? Alright, well we'll be right back. Alright. I'm just gonna have a shower. Okay. So, the main meat of today is that brag document. Now, what is a brag document? Well, let's go to Julia Evans's on brag documents. As such, I also need to open our solution page. This click this. Like how to ask good questions, get your work organized. So, this is information on how to write a good brag document. This is quite a lot of information. So the thing is, if it goes till say 2:30, I'll probably end to 3 at the latest. At 3 at the latest. I don't think it'd take a whole hour and a half just to do this, but we will see. There is this idea that if you do great work at your job, people will or should automatically recognize the work and reward you for it. With promotions, increased pay, etc. In practice, it is often more complicated than that. Some kinds of important work are more visible, memorable than others. It's frustrating to have done something really important and later realize that you didn't get the reward for it just because the people making the decisions didn't understand or remember what you did. I want to talk about a tactic that I and lots of people I work with have used. This blog post isn't just about being promoted or getting raises though. The ideas here have actually been more useful to me to help me reflect on themes in my work that's important to me, what I'm learning, and what I'd like to be doing differently. But they've definitely helped with promotions. You can also skip to the brag document template at the end. You don't remember everything you did. One thing I'm always struck by when it comes to performance review time is feeling of, wait, what did I do in the last 6 months? This kind of demoralizing feeling, and it's usually not based in reality, more in I forgot what cool stuff I actually did. I invariably ended up having to spend a bunch of time looking through my pull requests, tickets, launch emails, design documents, and more. I always end up finding small and sometimes not so small things that I completely forgot I did, like mentored an intern 5 months ago, did a small but important security project, spent a few weeks helping get an important migration over the line, help X put together this design doc, etc. That does remind me that I did do some stuff myself as well. Technically, like, built a design, wrote my first ever design doc in less than a week time. Less than a week. Understand the key concepts of, yeah. Doesn't remember everything you did. Okay, this is ideally better to be written down on my other laptop. I conveniently have here I'm just going to move this aside. And I'm just going to put my laptop here. Actually, do I even have room? Just push it around. Okay. So I'm going to have a brag document, new document, or we have the brag document at the main document. Brag document. Okay. Brag documents. Okay. Your manager doesn't remember everything you did, and if you don't remember everything important to you, your manager, no matter how great they are, probably doesn't either. And they need to explain to other people why you should be promoted or given an evaluation like exceeds expectations. X work is so awesome, it doesn't fly. So if your manager is going to be effectively advocate for you, they need help. Here's the tactic: write a document listing your accomplishments. The tactic is pretty simple. Instead of trying to remember everything you did with your brain, maintain a brag document that lists everything that you can refer to, so you can refer to it when you get performance review seasons. This is pretty common tactic. When I started doing this, I mentioned as more experienced people, and they were like, oh yeah, I've been doing that for a long time. It really helps. When I work, we call this a brag document. Where I work, we call this a brag document, but I've heard other names for the same context, like hype document or list of stuff I did. There's a basic template for a brag document at the end of this post. Share your brag document with your manager. When I first wrote a brag document, I was kind of nervous about sharing it with my manager. It felt weird to do, like, hey, look at the awesome stuff that I did this year. I wrote a long document listing everything, but my manager was really thankful for it. I think his perspective was, this makes my job way easier. Now I can look at the document when writing your perf review instead of trying to remember what happened. Giving them a document that explains your accomplishments will really help your manager advocate for you in discussions about your performance and come to any meetings that they need to have prepared. Brag documents also really help the manager transitions. Help with manager transitions. If you get a new manager 3 months before an important performance review that you want to do well on, giving them a brag work and its impact on any of your work before. Share it with your peer reviewers. Similarly, if your company does your peer feedback, if your company does peer feedback as part of the promotion performance review, share your brag document with peer reviewers. Every time someone shares their doc with me, I find it so helpful with writing their review for much of the same reasons it's helpful to share with your manager. It reminds me of all the amazing things they did, and when they list their goals in their brag document, it also helps me see what areas they might be most interested in feedback on. List their goals, I see. On some teams at work, it is a team norm to share a brag document with peer reviewers to make it easier for them. Explain the big picture. In addition to just listing accomplishments, in your brag document you can write the narrative explaining the big picture of your work. Have you been really focused on security, on building your project skills and having really good relationships with your users, or building a strong culture of code review on the team? In my brag document, I like to do this by making a section for areas that I've been focused on, like security, and listing all the work I've done in that area. This is especially good if you're working on something fuzzy, like building a stronger culture of code review, where all individual actions you do towards that might be relatively small and there isn't a big shiny ship. Okay, one thing that does make me, that kicks my, another part of this is that I am making, along with some other interns, a document for future interns. Notes, basically for future interns to keep a note of. Knowledge. With Adrian. Um, Um. Hmm. Ask questions. Ask the right question. Asking good questions. Asked. Good questions. Asked good questions. Troubleshoot. Okay, so I think I got some ideas written down. Use your brag document to notice patterns. In the past, I've found that brag documents useful not just to hype my accomplishments, but also to reflect on the work I've done. Some questions it's helped me with: what work do I feel most proud of? Are there themes in this project I should be thinking about? What is the big picture of what I'm working on? Am I working on a lot of security localization? What do I wish I was doing more/less of? Which of my projects has the effect I wanted, and which didn't? Why might that have been? What could have gone better with Project X? What might I want to do differently next time? It's definitely good questions, right? That we think about. I will say Moriano. You can write it all at once or write it every 2 weeks. Many people have told me that it works best for them if they take a few minutes to update their brag document every 2 weeks. For me, it actually works better to do a single marathon session every 6 months, or every year when I look through everything I did, reflect on it all at once. Try out different approaches and see what works for you. Don't forget to include the fuzzy work. A lot of us work on fuzzy projects that can feel hard to quantify, like improving code quality on the team, making code reviews a little more in depth, making on-call easier, building a more fair review process, performance review system, refactoring, driving down technical debt. A lot of people will leave this kind of work out because they don't know how to explain why it's important. But I think this kind of work is especially important to put into your brag document because it's the most likely to fall under that radar. One way to approach this is for each goal, explain your goal for the work. Why do you think it's important to refactor X piece of code? List some things you've done towards that goal. List any effects you've seen of the work, even if they're a little indirect. On version sets, Okay. Encourage each other to celebrate accomplishments. One nice side effect of having a shared idea that it's normal, good to maintain a brag document at work is that I sometimes see people encouraging each other to record and celebrate their accomplishments. You should put that in your brag doc, that was really good. It can be hard to see the value of your work sometimes, especially when you work on something hard, and an outside perspective from a friend or colleague can really help you see why what you're doing is important. Brag documents are good when you use them on your own to advocate for yourself, but I think they're better as a collaborative effort to recognize where people are excelling. Next, I want to talk about a couple of structures that we use to help people recognize their accomplishments. The brag workshop. Help people list their accomplishments. The way this brag document practice started in the first place is that my coworker Carla and I wanted to help other women in engineering advocate for themselves more in the performance review process. The idea is that some people undersell their accomplishments more than they should, so we wanted to encourage those people to brag a little bit and write down what they did that was important. We did this by running a brag workshop just before performance review season. The format of this workshop is like this. Write the document, 1 to 2 hours. Everybody sits down with their laptops, starting looking through their pull requests, tickets that they resolved, design docs, etc., and put together a list of important things they did in the last 6 months. Pair up and make the impact of the work clearer. So the goal of this part is to pair up, review with each other's documents, and identify places where people haven't bragged enough. Maybe they worked on extremely critical projects to the company but didn't highlight how important it was. Maybe they improved test performance but didn't say that they made the tests 3 times faster, and that improved everyone's developer experience. It's easy to accidentally write a shipped feature and missed the follow-up, which caused a thing to happen. Fair enough. I say what I did, but I didn't say the outcome of it, right? So that's what I should write more of as well. Say what you do, but rest the. Okay. So this gave us more time. Gives us more time to. Okay. Henry, even after you got the position at Amazon, what makes you keep going at Leetcode? Not saying it's bad or anything, just wondering since you're there already. That's a good point, right? Like, why even bother? I will tell you that once you get in, you're more inclined to stick to it, right? There is a sort of, you could consider it as some sort of, what's the word? Sunk cost fallacy. It is both a sunk cost fallacy, and it's also habit, and it's also more opportunities, right? All three of these things combined. So basically, what I'm saying is, what keeps me going at Leetcode? It comes from habit. What keeps me motivated to do Leetcode? It comes from more opportunities. If I am given one opportunity now, would I just give up? I don't think so. You know what I mean? I wouldn't give up other opportunities. If I got one, it doesn't mean that I can't look for more. Or it doesn't mean that I'm now satisfied, right? Now, maybe that's grim to think about. Maybe it's, when are you ever going to be satisfied? Maybe that's the question, right? When are you ever satisfied? In which case, I will say that I am satisfied. I am satisfied with doing Leetcode every day because of the opportunity to make myself into a better engineer. That's something that's what I would say. Some people put hopes in gambling. I put hopes in my future, I guess. Yeah, believing in yourself. That ending bit on gambling just now was kind of out of the blue, but that's also because I've been watching CoffeeZilla's video, recent video on like CS:GO, gambling. Okay. Okay. So I'm writing on the side as well, just saying, like all these, some brag points. So while I'm reading this, I'm also writing stuff down. Okay, bi-weekly brag document writing session. Okay, well. So one thing that she also mentioned, use a friend to make each other's brag documents better. Getting an outsider perspective on your points can help make them stronger. So another approach to helping people remember their accomplishments, my friend Dave gets some friends together every couple of weeks or so for everyone to update their brag documents. It's a nice way for people to talk about work that they're happy about and celebrate a little bit. And updating your brag document as you go can be easier than trying to remember everything you did all at once at the end of the year. These don't have to be people in the same company or even in the same city. That group meets over video chat and has people from many different companies doing this together from Portland, Toronto, New York, and Montreal. In general, especially if you're someone who really cares about your work, I think it's really positive to share your goals and accomplishments. And the things that haven't gone so well too, with your friends and co-workers. It makes it feel less like you're working alone and more like everyone is supporting each other in helping them accomplish what they want. Alright, that's thanks. Appendix. So this is the brag document template. Is this really? Here's a template for a brag document. Usually I make one brag document per year. Julia's 2017 brag document. I think it's okay to make a quite long, comprehensive 5 to 10 pages. I would honestly, wouldn't you just make one for your entire history? I guess if you want to keep it short, right? I think it's okay to make it quite long, expensive 5 to 10 pages for a year. Doesn't seem like too much to me, especially if you're including some graphs, charts, screenshots to show the effects of what you did. One thing I want to emphasize for people who don't like to brag is you don't have to try to make your work sound better than it is. Just make it sound exactly as good as it is. For example, was the primary contributor to X new feature that's now used by 60% of our customers and has gotten Y positive feedback. Right. Honestly, to be honest, do I feel like my project is valuable? I do think so. I do think so. And arguably it's more noticeable. It is more noticeable by other engineers. So it's a project that I believe would be pretty good for me. The one that I'm doing right now. I know I'm being vague, but I have to be. I'm pretty happy with my current project that I've been given, because I think I can do some good work. Some good work. Now, goals for this year. List your goals. All right. Sharing your goals with your manager and co-workers is really nice because it helps them see how they can support you in accomplishing those goals. Goals for this year. I see. To be honest, you're right. Goals for this year? Something I should write. Brag document. Goals for next year, even though I only have a 3-month internship, is confident. You know what I mean? Like you're planning to get that return. You know what I mean? So we're gonna include that. Goals for next year. I'm gonna include a project section. Company building. Sure. Well, interesting. Let's say that I will need to get there at 4. It takes how long to walk there? I gotta see where I'm going. Just to make sure I have time. Maps. Um, the walk takes, alright, exactly what I thought it would, and it would be, I need to get there by 4. If I need to get there by 4, I need to leave latest 3:30. That's what I'm saying. 3:30, I'm gonna leave at 3:30 and just walk there. 3:30 and then just walk there. Although that's a bit like, yeah, 3:30, fuck it. Okay. So, let me stand for a minute. Okay. Alright. Good that I stand. Now that you see, like, literally don't see anything but my face. I mean, but my chest. Okay. Like, maybe I got some ideas. Drag document is almost like a resume. It's almost like a resume. It almost feels like one. Okay. I'm gonna stand for a bit while I read this. I think it's better for me if I do. I just stand here. Also close the window a little bit. Okay. So collaboration and mentorship. What else do we have? Design and document. Company building. Company building. Writing better onboarding materials for sure. What you've learned. outside of work. The winner of a industry recognition blog posts. Okay. Okay. Eating lunches. Oz Harvest. Cooking for a cause. This was in week 2, I believe. Um, okay. Side of work, general prompts. Okay, yeah. So these are all still pretty good. Yeah. Okay, cooking for a cause, yes. That is what I did. Um, vibration, mentorship. Come up with design. Which components did you build? What was some useful insights? Like, wait, did we cut scope? Did you want me to do things way less? Can you come up? The impact of the project, who was it for, are these numbers attached? Did it come important numeric company goal? Remember, don't forget to explain what the results of your work actually were. It's often important to go back to a few months later, fill in what actually happened after you launch a project. Collaboration and mentorship, examples of things in this category, helping others in an area you're an expert in, like other engineers. Putting the C standards, just the right moment. Mentoring interns, helping them new get started, write clear email, meeting notes. Foundational code that other people built on top of. Improving monitoring dashboards on call. Any code review that you spent in a particular long time on that you think were especially important. Important questions that you answered, or pressure from other team. Mentoring someone on a project. Giving an internal talk or workshop. Yeah. More like I'm on the receiving end of that. So projects, the impact and the contributions. Design and documentation. Company building. What you've learned. A new programming language. Outscape 3.0. Virus. Component. Okay. Um. Okay. I know I've been quiet. Okay. I think company building, design and document, collaboration and mentorship, projects. This is going to be a big one. Goals for next year. Just your major goals. Goals for this year. Goals for next year. Projects. Goals for this year, goals for next year. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys. I am gonna call it a day. I'm gonna leave it now and next time.